last February, a group of Instacart employees who worked as an in-store shoppers at Mariana's grocery store in Skokie, Illinois, voted to unionize an historic moment at the gig economy. So basically, the gig economy, if you don't already know, is the fact that you have a lot of freelancers out there right now that are just basically busting their asses just to make enough money from, and that could be Uber, that could be Lyft, that could be Instacart, Grubhub, all of these different people, drivers. It's all over the place right now. In the AV, a lot of people are not in the union at this point. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are freelancers as well. So trying to get a union is very important. And I want to be sure to say this because Instacart dumped about 18,000 employees. And yes, only 10 of them were the unionized ones. So it's important to say that it's at the same time, them laying off a lot of people. But that was a huge stride that was made for the labor unions to have Instacart have some kind of actual unionization. So this was a shot in the bow for them.
Yeah.
Nearly 1 year later, those workers that have been informed that their jobs are being cut as part of their border change to how Instacart does business with some grocers, including Kroger and Kroger-owned Marciano stores. What was very interesting about it is that when Instacart was talking about this, they were telling us Kroger was like upset about it. Kroger was like, we were not part of this. We wanted to keep the amount of workers that we had. We are not part of this. So Intercart has informed the local chapter of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, which represents the Instacart Scrogia Mariano's bargaining unit, that approximately 366 Instacart in-store shoppers for Kroger's own stores nationwide will basically lose their positions. With
Hmm.
some of them, their compensation being only like $250 as severance.
Wow.
So, but that's the gig economy. I mean, unfortunately, if we're going to talk about capitalism and the gig economy, that is what it is in whole. Like, even when you come together as a union, it's not going to stop them from overhauling your union unless you have large groups of people. They needed multiple Kroger stores before they could stop somebody from basically laying off. But 18,000 is a lot of people. That's a lot of people to a lot of gig workers to knock off.
Yep. Yep. And I don't know what their average on salary was, but if you think about the amount of money that was lost, into the economy, you know what I mean? That's pretty bad. Like if they're making like 20, 30,000 a year times that number, that money's now not flowing the way it would have, throughout different communities, which isn't cool. This is one of the reasons why I am a big fan of worker co-ops and like other things where people could actually do things together as a group. My goal now is like when I start doing business, I want to start doing business with people where we're working together and building things together as and having decisions pretty much as a group instead of having a CEO running everything and like the people on top running everything and not thinking of the employees' best interests and not sharing the wealth, at the end of the day. Like there's money to be made. When I used to do hip hop showcases, I used to try to like break bread with everybody. If I did like something and I managed to set up some sort of a event or something where I needed other people working with me, I would make sure I tried to either break bread or give them barter something or do something that they felt was justified reimbursement or whatever it is, something that's decent. These people, they don't have anybody's best interest. They've shown it with the cab industry when they did the thing in California, right? They screwed them saying that they're
And in New
contracted.
York.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and in New York too. They're doing the same. Yeah, both states.
so you're destroying your car for them. Like when you do this shipping, like whatever Instacart type of stuff. Like I ordered Instacart once because we try to avoid going out to get food. So we ordered Instacart thinking, oh, we'll get some waters and stuff through BJ's, the wholesale place. And I think to myself, the guy came in a car like similar to the size of my car, regular sedan size. I'm like, this guy's throwing things in and out of his car left and right during COVID, and he's not even getting any of the benefits or healthcare things that would come with a normal, worker. And you think about it,
Yes.
you're destroying your car if that dies, and that's your only source of income, and you're not getting paid well, and you don't have health care. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, man. People are desperate, man.
No, it's a slippery slope.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
I was going to tell you. You asked the question of how much they're paid, and
Yeah.
we could probably extrapolate this by day at least. So full service shoppers pay depends on the order. Instacart provides an estimate of potential earnings for every order and guarantees shoppers will earn at least $5 for delivery only batches and $7 to $10 for each full service, which is shopping and delivering. So let's just say you're only doing deliveries, and it takes about, let's say, 20 minutes to get to each place. That means you can only do 3 orders an hour at
fifteen
tops.
dollars. Yeah,
So
so
you're
fifteen
making
dollars maybe.
$15.
Yeah, yeah,
So you're
yeah.
making maybe $150 a day.
Yep, yep.
So
And you're abusing your
it's just,
car, and you might be abusing your back if you have you could be older, lifting up waters and all sorts of other stuff. You know what I mean for people. I don't
yeah.
know, man. I did Uber. Uber's cool sometimes. Like what I used to do with Uber is like I would Uber, I'd set the destination from point A to point B, get up really early, pick up rides, and then since I do the photography work for the real estate finance company that I deal with, I would aim myself in that direction, or I'd go somewhere else and do other work and aim myself in that direction. If I needed to help my mom with something, I would Uber my
Hmm.
way over there to make money because you could do that or whatever it is. Sometimes it'll be dead. Sometimes you'll make good money. There's times I've made at least this is before COVID or whatever. I'd make like $100, for doing something one time. Maybe I had to go to New York or whatever. I could pick up from Jersey and drive into New York, but I can't pick up in New York and bring it back to Jersey because of
Right.
the way the laws are.
Yep.
So like, and they never really compensated people right, man. At the end of the day, they never really compensated it. But there were workarounds if you kind of had like a lot of work, but now it's not like that. Everybody's screwed. So you know, a lot of the stuff that Trump promised with the jobs and everything obviously didn't come to fruition, and a lot of people are now screwed about it. I don't understand how they didn't see this coming. Like I could have told you 10, 11 months ago, like it was going to be this bad, but a lot of people don't get it. They don't understand like how the cause and effect of okay, if this industry goes down, then this industry, then that industry, then you know what I mean? Like it's a domino effect with all the stuff that's been going on. Yeah, go ahead. You're gonna say something?
But we compartmentalize. That's just life. Like that. This is a part of like I don't even want to just say it's American culture because I believe this spans across multiple cultures. But we
Mm-hmm.
definitely compartmentalize those kind of things. This
Yeah.
is why I actually don't eat meat, for instance, because oh
Yeah.
my camera. Uh, but I don't
Yeah.
eat meat, for instance, just because the whole farming industry is very conglomerated, and it's very specific to Purdue and to specific companies, Monsanto, obviously. So I just decided I'm not going to patronize those companies,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's how because I saw the symbiosis on the food that was on my plate and my life.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
always thought that it was really important that you understand how much everything is actually linked up. The day to day for everybody is very much linked up.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna say I think that that's what Uber and Lyft, especially Uber, were supposed to be originally. Where just like you take some side drives,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then things just kind of changed where people were like, "Oh man, but we know we can game the system and play this game basically for 12 hours." And
Yeah.
then make
Yeah.
good money, especially if you have an Uber XL, you know?
Yeah. 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 It's I don't know, man. I'm pissed at the whole thing. Like they've gotten people like so used to capitalism that they don't realize when they're getting used. But everybody's upset. Like everybody's upset about this whole, I'm not making enough money. They've always been that way for years. We don't make enough money at the job. They work us to the, 50 hours, 60-hour weeks, this, that, and whatever. Like all these different like complaints, and nothing ever changes. You know what I mean? But then when, God forbid, we mention something like worker co-ops or like whatever. Oh, that's socialism, or that this, that's that. That's not gonna work. Or like I listen to a lot of Richard Wolff stuff. You know who Richard Wolff is, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So Richard Wolff, I listen to a lot of his like comments in regards to like why capitalism isn't working and so on and so forth. And like like one of his biggest things that he was mentioning was how easily they could decide, all right, you being an employee in my company is not effective. It's not helping me make more money, so I could just cut you goodbye. You know what I mean? Like he made it seem like people should know their limits. Like they shouldn't hire more than they need and put people into positions like, where okay, I'm gonna do whatever I can for now that works best for me, but now I got to lay off 1,500 employees or 18,000 employees or whatever it is, because it's to the benefit of my stockholders and so on and so forth to make sure that certain profits are still coming in, and it's like their judgment, because the workers aren't involved, are is skewed towards profits. It's not skewed to the benefit of the actual employees, and that's where a huge problem is, and people want to blame government or whatever it is, but they don't really. A lot of people don't blame the exact cause of the problem, which is the CEO's greed, the stockholders' greed, and the way the laws have been kind of like twisted and mangled
They
to allow
work
them
they
to.
work towards the rich.
Yeah, exactly.
Those
You
laws
know what I
work
mean?
for the rich. They don't work
Exactly.
necessarily for the poor.
Yep, they could write off taxes on this and do all this and that, and then when it's us, it's like, oh, you owe this, or you're going to jail, or you're going to go to this, or da 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 da. If you hear stories about a lot of these people that do some real shady crap like insider tradings and all that other stuff, unless you really like damage a lot of people's lifestyles or whatever it is, if it's just you making money, half the time they'll give you a slap on the wrist. But if you do a Bernie Madoff where you like screw over thousands or hundreds of people, then that's when they get pissed, because they're like, okay, now you've opened up Pandora's box. Everybody sees what you did. We have to punish you now. But if you could do something that's like a little underhanded, whatever, in this country, half the time they let you go for it, because it's like nobody really noticed. You know what I mean? Like look at a lot of these politicians. Look at the woman who paid for the school or whatever for a kid. Like bribed the
For
school.
schooling.
Yeah, she ended up getting out
Former
like in 2 months, right? Like she got out in 2 months. Like that
yeah,
doesn't
two and a
happen to
half.
like yeah, that doesn't happen to the average person. Like if it was me and I did something like really shady or whatever it is, and it affected a lot of people, I'd be in jail forever.
And to be more specific, there was this is I forgot her exact name, but she was on Family Matters, and she got her daughter into a college, and she bribed them, very specifically bribed them,
Hmm.
and that cost her only about 10 weeks of her life in jail. While we had somebody who's tried to send her child to school, to middle
Hmm.
school in I believe it was Alabama. Yeah, I think it
Hmm.
was Alabama. Just tried to send her kid
Out
to
of
a different
district, right?
school.
It was out of
Yeah, out
district
of
type of thing.
district, and ended up getting
Mm.
like 2 years in prison. And that's just the huge gap that we have. Like, it's clear if you're watching, but it's not like every single person is going to follow each story, especially if that's a more local story. But it was kind of national. But to most people, that's a local story.
That's why we got to keep airing everything out. We got to get people out there like ourselves out there, to air out all the truths that are going on so that people could hear it. Even if it's not like I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of haters on this show, and other things, but at least we'll get the voice out there and they can hear what we're saying, and maybe because of them hearing us say it, maybe they'll research it and learn something, or they might correct us. Maybe we're wrong. You know what I mean? Who the hell knows? I'm open for whatever.